Ever feel like you want to dive deep into a topic? Really get the full picture. But then you see how much is out there, all the articles, the guides, the videos, and it's just daunting.
Yeah, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. You want the knowledge, but who has the time to sift through it all?
Right. Well, that's where we come in. Today, we're tackling Brazil, a country so vast and diverse, it's practically a world of its own. And we're going to pull out the gems for you, the stuff that really makes Brazil tick.
We've read this fantastic overview of the country, and we're going to condense it, refine it, give you the essence of why Brazil captures the imagination of so many people.
Think of it as your fast track to understanding Brazil's magic. We're not just talking about the beaches or the Amazon, though those are definitely part of it. We're going deeper.
We want to bring you a sense of the place, the vibrant cities, the culture, the natural wonders, all the things that make Brazil so unique.
Okay, so Brazil. The guide calls it the giant of South America, and for good reason. But it's not just about size, is it? What does that scale actually mean for the country?
Well, that geographic footprint is crucial to understanding Brazil. It means you have this incredible range of ecosystems all within one country. From the Amazon rainforest, which is just mind-bogglingly huge, to dry scrublands, mountains, and a coastline that seems to go on forever.
Wow, and with all that variety, the guide suggests there's something for every type of traveler in Brazil.
Absolutely. Whether you're a beach bum, a history buff, an adrenaline junkie, or a nature enthusiast, Brazil has something to offer everyone.
So let's talk about what makes Brazil so alluring. The guide starts with the beaches. Just the names. Copacabana, Ipanema, Praia do Forte. They conjure up sort of vivid images. But what's the real story behind those iconic stretches of sand?
Those beaches are more than just beautiful scenery. They're woven into the fabric of Brazilian life. Take Copacabana, for example. That famous black and white mosaic walkway, it's not just for show. It's where cariocas, that's what they call Rio residents, come to hang out, play sports, see and be seen. It's a public space full of energy and life. Then you have Ipanema, a bit more chic, a bit more exclusive, and it's not just the beach itself, it's the whole neighborhood, the cafes, the shops, the vibe, and then Praia do Forte, which is not just breathtakingly beautiful, but also a major site for sea turtle conservation.
It's amazing how each beach has its own personality.
Definitely. And they're all an essential part of the Brazilian experience.
And then, of course, there's Brazilian culture, which is so rich and vibrant. The guide calls out Carnival in Rio and Salvador as being true global events. But what does Carnival mean to Brazilians on a deeper level?
Carnival is like this huge release valve for the country. It's a time to let loose, to celebrate, and it's deeply rooted in Brazilian history. It's a mix of European traditions with African rhythms and indigenous influences, all blended together.
So it's not just a party, it's a reflection of the country's history and cultural mix.
Exactly. You see it in the costumes, the music, the dancing, the samba schools. It's an explosion of creativity and passion. And in Salvador, you really see the strong influence of Afro-Brazilian culture in their carnival celebrations. The music and the dancing are just incredible.
From that energy to something completely different, the sheer scale of nature in Brazil is awe-inspiring. The Amazon, Iguazu Falls, the Pantanal. The guide flags these as must-sees for anyone who loves nature. Can you tell us a bit about what makes each of these so unique?
Well, each one showcases a different side of Brazil's natural wonders. The Amazon, it's the largest rainforest on Earth. This vast, mysterious ecosystem teeming with life. A trip there is like stepping into another world. Then you have Iguazu Falls, which is just pure, raw power. Hundreds of waterfalls cascading down. The sound is deafening. The mist rises high into the air. It's an experience you won't soon forget. And then there's the Pantanal, the largest tropical wetland area in the world. It's a haven for wildlife, and because it's a more open landscape than the rainforest, it's easier to spot animals. It's like an African safari, but in South America.
It sounds incredible. You could spend months exploring those areas alone.
Easily. And still only scratch the surface.
All this exploring is bound to work up an appetite. The guide mentions feijoada and churrasco as being particularly representative of Brazilian cuisine. What makes these dishes so special?
Feijoada is considered Brazil's national dish. It's a hearty black bean stew with various cuts of pork and beef, and it's got a fascinating history, thought to have originated during the colonial era, possibly from slaves making use of leftover ingredients. It's a real comfort food, and you'll find it everywhere in Brazil. Churrasco, on the other hand, is the Brazilian barbecue. It's all about grilling different cuts of meat over an open fire. But it's more than just a meal, it's a social event. People gather around the grill, share stories, and enjoy the delicious food. It's a real celebration of Brazilian culture.
And let's not forget the wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
Jaguars, capybaras, macaws, pink river dolphins. It's like a living, breathing nature documentary. Why is Brazil such a hotspot for biodiversity?
It all comes down to the sheer variety of habitats.
Yeah.
Rainforests, wetlands, grasslands, coastal regions, mountains, each one supports a unique array of species. And because Brazil is so vast, it acts as a refuge for many animals that are threatened elsewhere. It's a true treasure trove of biodiversity.
Okay, let's get into some specific destinations. Rio de Janeiro, the marvelous city. It has this almost mythical reputation. What is it about Rio that earns it that nickname?
Well, the setting is undeniably spectacular. The city nestled between mountains and the sea, the iconic Sugarloaf Mountain, the beaches. But it's more than just the scenery. It's the energy, the vibe. The people of Rio, the Cariocas, are known for their warmth, their love of life, their music, and their dancing. There's a certain rhythm to life in Rio that's infectious. It draws you in and makes you want to stay.
And one of the first things people think of when they picture Rio is Christ the Redeemer, that iconic statue overlooking the city. What's it like to actually be there at the base of that statue?
Standing beneath Christ the Redeemer is an incredibly powerful experience. This massive statue, arms outstretched, gazing out over the city. It's a symbol of hope, of peace, of protection. And the view from up there, from the top of Corcovado Mountain, is breathtaking. You can see the entire city spread out before you, the beaches, the mountains, the favelas, everything. It gives you a real sense of Rio's scale and beauty.
And then we have Copacabana and Ipanema. The guide highlights them as attractions in themselves beyond just being beaches. If someone is planning a visit, how would you describe the vibe of each to help them decide which one to prioritize?
Copacabana is a bit more lively, more energetic, more of a party atmosphere, especially on weekends. It's a great place to people watch, soak up the sun, and may play some beach volleyball. Ipanema, on the other hand, is a bit more laid back, a bit more chic. It's known for its beautiful people, its trendy shops and restaurants, and a slightly more relaxed atmosphere. Both are definitely worth a visit, but they offer different experiences.
And Sugarloaf Mountain, with its famous cable car ride. Is it all about the view from the top, or is the journey part of the attraction?
The cable car ride is definitely part of the fun. You take 2 separate cable cars to get to the top, with a stop in between on Morro da Urca, which itself offers stunning views of the city and Guanabara Bay. But the view from the top of Sugarloaf Mountain is truly spectacular. You get a 360-degree panorama of Rio, all the way to the beaches, the Christ the Redeemer statue in the distance, the islands dotting the bay. It's a must-do experience in Rio.
And for a taste of Rio's nightlife, the guide recommends Lapa and Santa Teresa. What kind of atmosphere can you expect in these neighborhoods?
Lapa is the heart of Rio's samba scene. It's full of bars and clubs, and on weekends, the streets come alive with music and dancing. It's a bit gritty, a bit chaotic, but full of energy and passion. Santa Teresa, on the other hand, is perched on a hillside overlooking the city. It has a more bohemian vibe with cobblestone streets, colorful houses, art galleries, and charming cafes. It's a great place to wander, soak up the atmosphere, and enjoy the views.
So you've got the high energy of Lapa and the more laid-back artistic vibe of Santa Teresa.
Exactly. 2 different sides of Rio's nightlife.
Now let's move on to Sao Paulo, Brazil's largest city and a true cultural powerhouse. If Rio is the postcard, is Sao Paulo the beating heart of Brazil?
That's a great way to put it. Sao Paulo is the economic and cultural engine of the country. It's a huge, sprawling, cosmopolitan city, a melting pot of cultures and ethnicities. It may not have the stunning natural beauty of Rio, but it more than makes up for it with its energy, its diversity, and its cultural offerings.
The guide highlights Avenida Paulista as the city's nerve center. What makes this avenue so important?
Avenida Paulista is like the spine of Sao Paulo. It's lined with skyscrapers, banks, businesses, cultural institutions, and shops. It's always buzzing with activity day and night. On Sundays, they close the avenue to traffic, and it becomes this huge pedestrian space where people come to walk, bike, rollerblade, and enjoy the street performers and vendors. It's a great place to experience the energy of the city.
And in the midst of all that urban sprawl, there's Ibirapuera Park, a green oasis in the heart of the city. What role does this park play in the life of Paulistanos, as Sao Paulo residents are called?
Ibirapuera Park is a beloved escape from the hustle and bustle of the city. It's a huge park with lakes, gardens, museums, and cultural spaces. People come here to exercise, relax, have picnics, and enjoy the outdoors. It's a vital green lung for Sao Paulo and a real testament to the city's commitment to preserving green space.
And for a taste of local flavor, the guide recommends the Municipal Market, or Mercadão, specifically calling out the mortadella sandwiches and the exotic fruits. What makes this market so special?
The Mercadão is a Sao Paulo institution. It's this huge covered market with over 300 stalls selling everything from fresh produce and seafood to spices, cheeses, and cured meats. The mortadella sandwiches are legendary. They pile slices of mortadella, a type of Italian bologna, onto crusty bread until it's overflowing. It's a real carnivore's delight. And the exotic fruits, oh my goodness, you have to try the exotic fruits. Brazil has such an incredible variety of fruits, many of which you won't find anywhere else. It's a real feast for the senses.
Now let's venture into the Amazon rainforest, the lungs of the earth. It's so much more than just a vast expanse of trees. It's this incredibly complex and vital ecosystem. What's it like to actually be there, in the heart of the Amazon?
It's an experience unlike any other. The sheer scale of it is overwhelming. The dense vegetation, the towering trees, the humid air, the symphony of sounds. It's like stepping into another world, a world teeming with life. You can hear the birds calling, the insects buzzing, the monkeys chattering. You might even catch a glimpse of a jaguar or a sloth. It's a truly humbling experience to be surrounded by so much biodiversity.
The guide recommends several ways to experience the Amazon: boat tours, jungle trekking, eco-lodges, and even meeting with indigenous communities. What are some of the key things to consider when choosing how to explore this vast region?
Well, it really depends on your interests and comfort level. Boat tours are a great way to see a lot of wildlife along the riverbanks, and they're relatively comfortable. Jungle trekking will get you deeper into the forest, but it requires more physical exertion and a willingness to rough it a bit. Eco-lodges offer a more immersive experience, often with guided excursions and a focus on sustainability. And visiting indigenous communities can give you a unique perspective on the culture and history of the Amazon, but it's important to do so respectfully and ethically.
So there's a range of options, from comfortable boat tours to more adventurous treks.
Exactly, and each one offers a different perspective on this amazing ecosystem.
Now let's move on to another breathtaking natural wonder: Iguazu Falls. Located on the border of Brazil and Argentina, these waterfalls are truly awe-inspiring. How does the Brazilian side of the falls differ from the Argentine side in terms of what you can see and do?
Both sides offer incredible views, but they provide different perspectives. From the Brazilian side, you get this panoramic view of the entire falls system. You can see the sheer scale of it, the hundreds of cascades thundering down. It's a truly breathtaking sight. On the Argentine side, you can get closer to the falls with walkways that take you right out over the water, including the Devil's Throat, which is the largest and most powerful single waterfall in the system. It's a much more immersive experience, and you're guaranteed to get wet from the spray.
And what about the Devil's Throat? What makes it so spectacular?
It's this massive U-shaped chasm where the water just plunges down with incredible force. The sound is deafening and the mist rises high into the air, creating a rainbow. It's a truly awe-inspiring sight.
It sounds like a must-see on either side of the falls.
Absolutely. And there are other things to do around Iguazu, too. You can take boat rides to the base of the falls, go hiking in the surrounding rainforest, and visit the bird park, which is home to hundreds of species of birds.
Now let's head north to Salvador, a city known for its vibrant Afro-Brazilian culture. What sets Salvador apart from other Brazilian cities?
Salvador was one of the first colonial capitals of Brazil and a major port for the slave trade. This history has had a profound impact on the city's culture, creating a unique blend of African, indigenous, and European influences. This is especially evident in the music, the dance, the food, and the religious practices of Salvador. It's a city with a strong sense of identity and a rich cultural heritage.
The guide highlights the Pelourinho, the UNESCO-listed historic center, as a must-visit. What makes this area so special?
The Pelourinho is a living museum of Salvador's colonial past. It's full of colorful buildings, cobblestone streets, and ornate churches. It's a place where you can wander for hours, soaking up the atmosphere and imagining what life was like centuries ago.
And the Elevador Lacerda, connecting the upper and lower parts of the city, is it just a mode of transportation, or is there more to it than that?
The Elevador Lacerda is more than just a funicular. It's a landmark in itself. It's this beautiful Art Deco structure that offers stunning views of the city and the bay. It's a quick and scenic way to get between the upper and lower parts of Salvador, and it's a popular spot for photos.
And what about capoeira? The guide mentions traditional capoeira performances in Salvador. What is it about this martial art that's so closely linked to the city's culture?
Capoeira is a unique blend of martial arts, dance, music, and acrobatics. It developed in Brazil among African slaves as a way to disguise their fighting techniques. In Salvador, you can see authentic capoeira performances in the streets and in cultural centers. It's a captivating display of strength, agility, and rhythm, and it's an integral part of Salvador's cultural heritage.
Our final stop takes us to the Pantanal, a wildlife lover's paradise. After the dense rainforest of the Amazon, what kind of wildlife encounters can you expect in this vast wetland area?
The Pantanal is a completely different ecosystem from the Amazon. It's a vast floodplain, a mosaic of rivers, marshes, and grasslands, and is home to an incredible array of wildlife. Because it's a more open environment than the rainforest, it's often easier to spot animals here. You have jaguars, caimans, capybaras, giant anteaters, giant river otters, and an incredible variety of birds. It's truly a wildlife lover's paradise.
The guide recommends safari tours for spotting jaguars and other elusive creatures, and they also mention incredible bird watching opportunities. What's the best way for someone who's really into wildlife to experience the Pantanal?
The best way is to go on a guided tour, either by boat or by jeep. The guides know the best spots to find different animals and can help you spot things you might miss on your own. And staying at a traditional fazenda, or ranch, in the Pantanal is a great way to immerse yourself in the local culture and experience life on the floodplain.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. If someone is thinking about planning a trip to Brazil, when is the best time to go?
The best time to visit most of Brazil is during the dry season, which runs from May to September. The weather is generally pleasant during this time, with less rain and cooler temperatures.
What if someone wants to experience Carnival? When should they aim for?
Carnival takes place in February or early March, depending on the year. So if you want to be in Brazil for Carnival, that's when you need to go. Just be aware that it's peak tourist season, so prices will be higher and you'll need to book well in advance.
And finally, the guide mentions FlightNHotels.com as a helpful resource for booking travel to Brazil. What are the advantages of using a portal like that, especially when planning a trip to a country as big and diverse as Brazil?
Well, for a destination like Brazil, where you might be flying into one city and then traveling to several different regions, a portal like FlightNHotels.com can be really helpful. You can search for flights, hotels, and even rental cars all in one place, and you can often find package deals that save you money. Plus, it's just more convenient to have all your bookings in one place.
So it can simplify the planning process, which is always a bonus.
Definitely, especially when you're dealing with a country as complex as Brazil.
So to wrap up our deep dive into Brazil, it's clear that this is a country of incredible contrasts, a country that offers something for everyone. From the vibrant cities to the breathtaking natural wonders, the rich culture, and the warm and welcoming people, Brazil is a destination that will leave a lasting impression.
Absolutely. We've only scratched the surface today, but hopefully we've given you a taste of what makes Brazil so special and inspired you to learn more.
And for you, our listener, as you've journeyed with us through the streets of Rio, the depths of the Amazon, the vibrant heart of Salvador, and the wildlife-rich Pantanal, which aspect of Brazil has captivated you the most? What sparks your curiosity and makes you want to experience this incredible country for yourself?